Hey Familia, Igni here, and the last two cards for the Resurgent Legends minis that have been revealed, the Shadowcraft Legendary and the Forestcraft Legendary, let's talk about it. So Zebet, Spreading Corruption, 644. Shadowcraft Legendary, funny that this is coming up because in our podcast Evolve Point, on our episode on what Resurgent cards we'd like to see next, somebody actually brought up Zebet, and here she is. Fanfare, choose two of the following: Ravening Beetle, Ruthless Mantis, or Reeling Shutterfly. Enhance 8, gain ward, and the following effect, and recover 2 evolution points. The next time this follower takes damage, reduce that damage to 0, and then if you recover the evolution points and you evolve it, you summon 2 more of the guys. And what are the guys? Airstrike Artifact, Better Ancient Artifact that heals, and a 2 Playpoint 1/3 Bane that draws a card, and Necromancy 6 debuffs the enemy board. I think this card is really, really strong in a vacuum, but it's just expensive. The fact that it's expensive makes me think maybe 1 of or 2 of max in something like Last Words, and maybe not even right now, right? Because like right now it's hard to fit this in with Istendet and Colonel still in the deck, but in the next rotation when those guys leave the rotation meta, maybe it becomes more of a tempo deck rather than OTK deck, and Zebet can come in from there. I don't know. It's also good in potentially activating your Necromancy threshold for Viscaria, is something I can say. In general, it just seems to be like a very strong, good stuff card, but the price point might be too high for it to really be a meta thing. I'm hopeful, though, that if Shadow goes into a more tempo direction, this might be a dangerous card to contend with because it generates so many Last Words. Not only that, but being able to do this effect is so strong, especially if you already have Mint active, and then the first Necromancy, doesn't cost anything, and then your second Shutterfly can activate too. So you only need 6 shadows for both Shutterflies to activate, really. Debuff your entire enemy's board, perhaps relevant against Grave Adjudicator himself as well. I don't know. I think it's a card that is super cool, but whether it's super strong, it depends on whether or not this cost is something you're willing to pay. And it might not be because it's quite heavy. I personally quite like it though. And I'm going to try making like a Necromancy deck where you use this and then your Viscarias can come in auto evo and Alice while that's still around too. It's a shame that Alice is rotating out, so we can only experiment with this once, but I won't miss my chance. All right, next we just got the new Forestcraft Legendary, and it's very interesting. So let me read out the effects here. It's a Resurgent of Fairy Dragon. 2 Playpoint 1/1. Fusion. Forestcraft cards that cost at least 2. When cards are fused to this card, summon a fairy, put a fairy into your hand. Ward. Fanfare, gain +X+Y, which equals the number of Forestcraft followers that have left play split randomly. Allied Forestcraft followers, I should say. So, wow. What? At first, I didn't really understand what this card was for exactly, but it has a couple of implications, and I'm not sure if any of them are super worth it, but hear me out, I guess. 1, additional fuses for potentially an Iris to go Super Blast in control. 2, if you summon a fairy from this for free by fusing a 2 cost, you can get 0 playpoint activations for Philly, which means that you can maybe proc the effects of Philly more often, including getting stuff like Sky Devouring Hoarder, because you get the free one on the board and also the one in your hand. So that's 2 Philly activations right there. So maybe. And 3, you can also just play this in Castel, getting free fairies if you don't have something in hand for your Windbloom Tiger or your Salvia Panther. Yeah, guarantee can have a 0 playpoint fairy now alongside your 2-drop play if you didn't play anything turn 1. So that's a thing. Makes it harder to play around Salvia Panther or Windbloom Tiger because now instead of them having to land and stick a 1-drop, you can just get a 0 cost alongside your Salvia or your Windbloom on the same turn. And also, it's just more bodies, right? Like the fairy for free and the fairy you play out. I think the body itself is worthless as a randomly statted ward. Who cares? I mean, maybe in the... No. I was just gonna say, it doesn't have any immunities either, so like even if it gets really fat stats, like you just get rid of it, right? I don't know. Or transform it or destroy it, especially when Force doesn't have that many other things that also have fat stats. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah. It's got some interesting implications. I'm particularly interested in seeing it in Control and maybe even Philly coming back. In Castel, it's a bit more boring to just support Castel with 0 cost guys. But you have to play that opportunity cost game because you do lose the thing that you fuse and you don't get it back like with Cleaver Cat. Wow, wait, that was like a rhyme. Do you hear that? You lose the thing that you fuse and you don't get it back like Cleaver Cat. Oh, crap. And with that, I'm going to end the video. I have revealed my genius poetry onto the world, and I'll leave it to you. What do you think of these 2 cards, Fairy Dragon and Zebet? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.